By the way, as a quick aside, I wanted to draw your attention to this crazy story. This is an article from the New York Post. Couples should wear face masks during sex, new study insists. Well, if there's a new study that says it, well, obviously we should just listen and believe, right? Safe sex during the coronavirus pandemic might soon require protection beyond just the nether regions. A new study from researchers at Harvard University says that hooking up carries some risk from transmitting COVID-19 from one partner to the other and recommends, among other practices, wearing a face mask while doing it. The research published in the Annals of Internal Medicine ranked frisky situations based on how likely it is to catch coronavirus while in the act. Researchers recommend wearing a mask for the riskiest sexual scenario, sex with people other than those with whom one is quarantined. If you have an out-of-house coronavirus crush, the study says, besides keeping your mask on, you should avoid kissing, any oral to anal act, and anything else that involves semen or urine. Apologies for the crudity of this particular part of the video. Shower before and after and clean the space with alcohol wipes or soap. No one would ever believe this. The Onion has nothing on reality at this point in history. Honestly, the face mask wearers remind me of Borg drones from Star Trek. The masks are becoming mandatory in many countries for places like shops and on public transport like France, Spain, many states in America, and it looks likely to be introduced in Ireland very soon. So much for my body, my choice and personal autonomy. But of course, anything can be pushed through under the COVID-19 excuse. It seems to be the ultimate excuse for removing any rights and freedoms, and the docile sheep-like masses are happy to socially enforce this tyranny without any question on dissenters who refuse to comply. There's a lot more I want to talk about. I could mention how many countries have introduced laws that will allow contact tracers to enter people's homes and forcibly take people away for testing if they're suspected of being infected. That's been on the cards for a while now, as Michael Ryan of the World Health Organization has said.
In most parts of the world, due to lockdown, most of the transmission that's actually happening in many countries now is happening in the household, at family level. In some senses, transmission has been taken off the streets and pushed back into family units. Now we need to go and look in families to find those people who may be sick and remove them and isolate them in a safe and dignified manner.
So look out for bills and laws being drafted in your own country to bring about this kind of thing. I think I'm going to finish this video up with the following. I want to conclude by saying that I know how difficult it can be to reason with friends and family, and it's almost as if we're speaking a different language to some people. The masses are by and large not receptive to information that runs counter to the narrative that they've bought into for months, and the fear and sophisticated propaganda is overwhelming their ability to think clearly. You have to be patient with them. It's a lot like this great sketch by Awakening with JP.
I also find the more scared I am, the more unwilling I am to believe anything other than the original narrative that they told me that they're still telling me, even when new, more accurate information emerges. Like when USC did research in LA County a few weeks ago and showed the amount of people infected with COVID-19 is 28 to 55 times more than we originally thought. Yep, because most of these people don't have symptoms, it suggests the infection is far less dangerous than we originally thought. And in contrast to the original guesstimation of a death rate of 4.5% in COVID cases, the LA County Health Department says the new research suggests the actual death rate in COVID cases is between 0.1 and 0.2%. That means the actual death rate in COVID-19 cases is 22.5 to 45 times less deadly than we were originally told. But this new scientific data is irrelevant to me because it's like I already made up my mind when I was the most frightened.
And that's a perfect illustration of the problem. People mostly made up their minds when they were most frightened, and that fear motivated them to make a clear decision in one particular direction, to move as quickly as possible away from the perceived danger and towards what they were told was the solution: absolute, complete, and utter trust in institutions, media, and government. This reminds me of something UN General Secretary Antonio Guterres said recently.
As the world fights the deadly COVID-19 pandemic, the most challenging crisis we have faced since the Second World War,
No.
we are also seeing another epidemic, a dangerous epidemic of misinformation. Around the world, people are scared, they want to know what to do and where to turn for advice. This is a time for science and solidarity.
In other words, independent citizen journalists and alternative media people who aren't funded by massive corporations and governments are countering the mainstream narrative. Gotcha.
Yet the global misinfodemic is spreading. Harmful health advice and snake oil solutions are proliferating. Falsehoods are filling the airwaves. Wild conspiracy theories are infecting the internet. The world must unite against this disease too. And the vaccine is trust. First, trust in science.
Yes. Trust what the bought and paid for scientists say on television and just do what you're told.
And I salute the journalists and others fact-checking the mountain of misleading stories and social media posts.
Yay, fact-checking. People telling us what the truth is. Does that include censoring content you don't like?
Social media companies must do more to root out hate and harmful assertions about COVID-19.
Oh, I guess it does.
Second, trust in institutions, grounded in responsible, evidence-based governance and leadership.
Yeah, just trust the government because, just trust the institutions without question. Do not think for yourself. We would never lie to you. Trust us. Seriously, this video isn't creepy or anything.
And trust in each other. Mutual respect and upholding human rights must be our compass in navigating this crisis.
Yeah, I'm all for people's human rights, Antonio, which is why I was against the lockdown and the mandatory wearing of masks and social distancing. I also believe in people's right to free expression, which is why their opinions on the COVID crisis should not be removed from social media, because that's censorship, and censorship is the desperate act of somebody who's lost the argument.
Together, let's reject the lies and nonsense out there.
Yes, I agree. Let's reject the lies and nonsense from the UN, the World Health Organization, the mainstream media.
Today, I'm announcing a new United Nations Communications Response Initiative to flood the internet with facts and science while countering the growing scourge of misinformation.
You know, I find it very interesting that you'd use the word flood, but something just clicked with me. Maybe I'm way off base, but I seem to recall that exact word being used at the event 201, when they talked about countering misinformation and disinformation online. Let's have a listen.
Put the genie back in the bottle of the misinformation and disinformation is nigh impossible.
So flood good information. Okay, others, yeah, Jane?
Yeah, so can I agree with that? And my fact, it did come from the Edelman Trust Index, you'll be pleased to know, but also borne out by the work I've done as a CEO in my time. Can I also add that I think there are real technology opportunities here. I personally do not believe that trying to shut things down in terms of information is either practical or desirable. And we do have, I think, a couple of strategies that are available to us, one of which is the flood strategy, second of which is relying and informing and equipping trusted sources of information with the facts so they can then pass that on. But we also need to actually think about a technological answer to this. So there is work that's being done to actually create algorithms to sift through information on these kind of social media platforms. And I know that the Gates Foundation and others are funding organisations to work on things like this.
Huh. You don't say. It's almost as if these people were preparing to flood the internet with counter-propaganda because they knew that their narrative was going to be questioned online. Sounds like the flood strategy is flooding the internet with authoritative, pre-approved talking points which people are not expected to question. No thanks. I'll question everything, and I'm not going to simply sit down and shut up and believe what you're telling me. The New World Order is only made possible by people switching off their brains and believing what they're told without question. They don't want you using the grey matter in your head. It's time to start using it. The first form of resistance against tyranny is independent thought. Well, I think I'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much for watching. Feel free to download this and re-upload it where you like, and I'll catch you next time. Bye-bye.